Hi everyone and welcome to another tutorial from Mimic Digital. Today we're going to be having a look at the fourth and final way for you to broadcast or feed signal into Mimic using EasyLive. EasyLive is a cloud-based production system, and there are lots of them out there, but EasyLive is Mimic's platform of choice in terms of its capabilities and how it bills its customers. Other providers that are similar aren't nearly as feature-rich, or they're billing on more of a project basis, or on a fixed retainer basis. So it's not as on demand, and Mimic realizes that producers and event organizers don't have that type of flexibility. So EasyLive is super impressive in terms of what it can do, and its pricing is quite fair and on demand. Now we're quickly going to go through how to put a basic stream together, but we recommend that you go through and learn a bit more about EasyLive and how it works. Now when you're logged in, similar to Mimic, you'll have a testing phase and then also a go live phase. So you basically schedule your event or you schedule your test, and then the resources are basically built out. Now you see at the top here that we've got three phases, the setting up, the testing, and then the publishing phase. And once you start moving into the testing phase, your inputs will start to work. And then once you get into the publishing phase, that's when your stream would record, or it actually publishes your stream. Now you see over here, we've got various publishing points. If you want to add a publishing point, let's say I want to add an HLS publishing point, you'd basically click on add publishing point and give it some sort of name. But they have lots of different types of publishing points. Now depending on your final destination or what you want to import into Mimic, you will basically choose a RTMP or an SRT source. So you'd basically go here, click on add publishing point, click on custom RTMP for argument's sake, give it a name. I'm going to call it Mimic. Once we set up our encoder, we're going to grab our URL and stream key. Now to do that, I'm quickly going to pop over to Mimic. Now when you start at the dashboard, you'll go to stage control, broadcast, add input. And here you can choose whether you want an SRT or RTMP stream based on your decision in EasyLive. We're setting up an RTMP stream, so I'm going to choose RTMP. I'm going to call this from EasyLive. For this demonstration, we're going to use testing RTMP. The difference between testing and I understand how RTMP works is testing RTMP would automatically switch off after 30 minutes, and this is basically just to avoid you forgetting that the stream is running whilst you're testing it, being billed for the time that your encoding was active. Okay, let's click on next. And in step 3, we have our various video renditions. Now these are video and bitrate combinations. Generally the default settings are fine, but if you have a specific video resolution and or bitrate that you would like to use, you can select it over here. Now, if you haven't already seen our document about Upstream, SRT, and RTMP in Mimic, feel free to go have a look. Now, in here, you'll see all the different features and specifications, as well as the recommended settings. For this demonstration, we're going to keep everything at default, with the exception of the encoding region. For your encoding region, you should choose a region that's closest to you. So for this, I'm going to choose Mumbai. I'll keep the segment length the same, and the preset configuration I'm going to keep at live standard. Okay, let's go and click on add, and now it's basically going to build up the encoder for me in the cloud. Now the reason why these two platforms work well together is Mimic is sort of your delivery platform, and EasyLive is a way to create a composite or a look for your stream beyond what your capabilities are in terms of using an OBS or a vMix, because it's got really good contribution. Setting up our encoder in Mimic might take anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes. Whilst we wait for that, let's go ahead and set up our feed in EasyLive. Similar to an OBS or a Wirecast, you'll basically have your layers of different inputs, and you can go through here and add different types of inputs, whether it's a web camera from your computer, a screen capture, a remote capture, which is nice because I can effectively invite remote guests and bring them into the stream. I can have push or pull sources. So it's basically a whole entire cloud production system. Now you can do web pages, you can have different templates, you can build your own, you can pull in social feeds, You can load in a media bin. Now that could either be live sources or video that you upload. But generally what we would normally use this for is if you, for argument's sake, get 3 or 4 people that would be dialing into a production, and you, let's say, for instance, have a main host somewhere where you'd be doing the main feed from. So you might do your main feed in OBS or vMix, and then you'll take this into Easy Live and you'll take in a few remote callers. And what's nice about this is you can have a distributed team actually producing the show. So this type of workflow, although not unique to Easy Live, has become more and more relevant in the last 2 years in terms of spreading out your workflow and having a more of a role-based team, not necessarily in the same location. And if I wanted to do remote capture, I could basically share this URL with a few people. This basically opens up your web browser and turns on your web camera. And as a producer, you can speak to different people. You can have someone doing audio mixing. You have a multi-view that you can share with people, so they can see all the different inputs to your production. So you can have a producer monitoring this. And you'll see, because this is being produced in the cloud, you're going to have to allow access to all your audio and video devices. And this is similar to other web RTC and web-based audio applications. Okay, let's go over to Mimic and see how our encoding is doing. All right, this is still going. Like I mentioned, this should take about 2 to 5 minutes. If it takes longer than 5 minutes, just close the input and start again. Let's pop back to Easy Live. We'll go to Publish. And we'll go to Add Publishing Points. And you can see here that these are the settings in terms of the quality. And these are pretty on par with what we recommend for Mimic in terms of 4 to 6 megabits for your video bitrate, 2-second keyframe intervals, 128 kilobits per second audio, and then our H.264 profile high or main. So all of this looks right on par. So in Easy Live, I'm going to add a custom RTMP publishing point, and then we're going to head over to Mimic, where we'll get our stream URL and our stream key. Okay, so this looks like it's done now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and copy our stream URL. And we're going to call this publishing point Mimic. And then in server or URL, we're going to paste our RTMP IP. We're going to go back to Mimic and copy our stream key. And in Easy Live, we are going to paste it in stream name or stream key. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and save this. And to add this, I'm just going to click on Select. And then if everything goes well, that should start running. If we go back to our main dashboard, you'll see over here that it's going to record, and it's also going to stream to Mimic. Okay, the next step is we now need an input. So under production here, okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to throw all of these into the media bin so we can start from scratch. I'm going to add an input. I'm going to click on Add Live Source with an encoder push. So we'll choose vMix. So similar to Mimic, you will now be given your various URLs and your stream key to add or input into vMix. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it, and if we head over to vMix, I'm going to paste it into my URL. Head back to Easy Live and copy our stream key, and in vMix we'll go and paste it in our stream name or stream key section. And my quality, I'm just going to set to something close to my output. Choose H.264 at 1080p at 6 megabits per second. And then you also want to choose use hardware encoder when possible. Just quickly going to go double check my settings and just make sure that they look pretty similar to what we're going to be streaming. Going to change my level to 4.1, and you'd want to use strict CBR here at the bottom. Okay, let's save and close that. So if I start streaming this now, and we'll just wait for this to go red to indicate that the stream is live. And just as a side note, this will work with all the encoders that we recommend, OBS, vMix. You could even do SRT, but generally we recommend SRT out of vMix for better stats. And if you're interested in using SRT with vMix, we've got a video that covers that. So if we head back over to Easy Live, what we should see is this input coming in. Now, in general, these inputs won't actually be live until you start testing. So let's go and click on Start Test. And then following that, our inputs will actually be propagated into our Easy Live instance. Just give it a moment. And there we go. There's our vMix input. Now, if we go to our publish settings, and you'll see at the top of here, Start Publish and Record is flashing. So we actually haven't started publishing yet. And these guys, similar to Mimic, also have a testing counter as well. So they give you an hour of uninterrupted testing, and then it'll automatically switch off. Now, once you start publishing, that's when you actually start paying, similar to Mimic. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start publishing and record. And let's say start. You'll see that the recording has started, and also Mimic has kicked off in terms of sending. So now if we pop over into Mimic, we can preview our input by clicking on the preview icon. Okay, we're just going to try that again. Let's give it a second. Okay, and there's our Easy Live signal. So in this case, we're sort of putting Easy Live in between our production and Mimic, essentially expanding your capabilities in terms of having a distributed workflow. Now you'll see we've got the trial message. This is because we're not actually paying for this. It's still in the trial phase. But when you subscribe to Easy Live, you'll have a watermark-free version. And in addition to that, it'll also come with all the support and assistance from their support team. So what Easy Live doesn't have is an actual destination or platform, and that's where Mimic comes in. So you'll kind of use the two in tandem in terms of using Easy Live for the production and Mimic for the platform for your audience. Now you could easily stream from Easy Live to social media, but in terms of the features that Mimic offer, the two kind of work hand in hand. So similar to other input types, we'll just click and hold on Activate to push the input live. Okay, and there you go. And if we go have a look in Easy Live, you'll see that the stream is looking good. And when you're done, you hit End. And there you have your recording over there. Various video on demand publishing platforms. There are a few sharing options over here. And then on Mimic side, we recommend that you just switch your input when you're done. Now this could be a thank you page or a page that indicates the next step in the event. And now we'll go ahead and stop sending from vMix. And that is sending using Easy Live, which could either take an RTMP or SRT feed to Mimic. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you on the next one.